What's up guys, Brandon here, and in today's video we're going to talk about how I set up my paddle using lead tape. Here are the things you're going to need: a scale, a pair of scissors, some lead tape, optional is pair of gloves, and lastly the paddle. I'm going to weigh the paddle first. You can't see it, but it says 7.84 ounces. Again, gloves are optional here. If you've never used lead tape, I highly recommend it because lead is poisonous. I'm actually going to start by taking my grip off, mainly for two reasons. Number one is I actually end up putting some lead in the grip. So in order for me to do that, I put it under the grip. And second, it helps me register the paddle a little easier. You'll be able to see me do that here in a second. On one side of the paddle, you'll be able to see a chip logo on the paddle, and that's where you'll know where the NFC chip is in order to register the paddle. So here I am taking the grip off. It's a little messy with the gloves, so it keeps sticking to my hand. Here we go. I grab my phone. I'm gonna unlock my phone. Again, I'm looking for the side with the NFC chip. I'm gonna hover over the grip. It's usually in the top half of the handle, and right there you see a notification. I'm gonna click on it, and it takes me to the Joola warranty website. From there, it's asking me for my location. I say, sure, I'll allow it, and keep playing with this over grip that keeps getting in my way, and boom, that's gonna take me to the registration. There's a short video, it's optional to watch. You don't have to watch it. It's the same whether you use one of the old Gen 3s or with the new mod TA15. Hit the register and put that to the side. Now my paddle's fully registered. I'm actually gonna move this grip out of my way so it can stop sticking to my hand. So here we are, opening the pack of lead. It comes in a big roll. I'm using 1/2 inch lead tape from Gamma. I prefer it over the lead tabs. I just think because I use so much, it's more efficient for me to do it this way. I also think it's smoother on the paddle. I don't feel the little bumps from the tabs. So here I am unrolling the whole roll. And what I'm actually gonna do is I'm measuring the tape. So here I'm gonna cut it in half first, measuring right here. Right there, I know it's about 1/2 there, and I'm not super exact with my measurements here, but as long as I'm within a certain range, I'm okay. Make a quick cut. Right there. I'm gonna put one part of it to the side. I'm gonna use this first half of the tape for my top half of the paddle. The other half I'm gonna use for my grip. So here we go, I'm gonna cut into another half. And one part of that is gonna go at the top of my paddle, and the other part's gonna go into my throat. So here I'm gonna cut into 2 more pieces that I can put into the throat of the paddle. One for the left side and one for the right side. It is quite a bit of work to get started here. Got that going. And boom, I put it off to the side so I know where everything is. I start peeling that top of the paddle. Start peeling that first piece of lead for the top of the paddle. It's kind of difficult with these gloves. I highly recommend some sort of latex gloves if you guys have them. Or if you're careful, you can use your hands. I always try to wash my hands and wipe the surface at the end. But here we go, I got it unwrapped. I'm gonna put the paddle right in front of me so I can measure as evenly as I can. I'm just looking to make sure it's even. Nothing too specific. I use my pinkies as gauges to make sure it's close to even. Here I go, I get the first part down. And again, it keeps sticking to my hand, so definitely recommend something like a latex glove where it's not gonna be as easy to get your hand stuck onto the lead tape. But I start to get it going, and I smoothen it, make sure the whole surface is stuck to the paddle. Right there. Yep. Boom. Good job, Brandon. You're so good at this. Yeah, just make sure it's nice and smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect. My paddles are never perfect, but as long as you have a relative close gauge of it, then you're good. I'm gonna put the paddle off to the side. Here I go. I'm gonna grab the pieces for the throat of the paddle. I actually get tired of using the gloves, and I'm gonna just peel it with my hand. This is much easier for me to use my hand. Again, I've done this on multiple paddles, so I'm so used to it by now. I'm actually looking to get it as close to the middle of that throat as I can. I'm looking right where the edge of that rubber starts for the edge guard. I'm just gonna, I actually tore that tape a little bit here, but it's okay. Lead is a really soft metal, so sometimes it will tear, and that's perfectly fine. Just try to put it back together how you've had it, and boom, smooth it out. I'm gonna grab the other piece. I'm gonna do the same thing. Again, I'm looking to get that tape as close to where that edge guard starts as I can. I've just always had it that way. I feel like it gives me better control. It's a lot more stable for my paddle, and I think I'm a type of player where I hit pretty hard naturally, so getting a little more control and stability is giving me a lot more help where I need it. I feel like most of the time, especially with my hand battles and counters, I have pretty quick hands, so I'm able to block and return that ball pretty effectively because of this. So there I have it. Boom, right there. And here I will start using the other half that I would put off to the side for my grip. I'm actually going to cut this into 4 different strips here. Cut it 1/2 here. And here I'm going to cut into another half. What I'm looking to do here is to make sure my paddle is balanced. I don't want it to feel too head heavy, and I don't want it to feel too head light. I'm making sure that the amount of weight I'm putting at the top, I'm evening out at the bottom. Now, the reason I do that is so that my hands can feel like it's a more solid paddle, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's too heavy where I can't swing. I think a lot of people that play with lead weight tend to just put a lot of weight at the top, which then makes the paddle kind of head heavy. And that's where I see a lot of people get injured with their wrist, their elbow, all kinds of different injuries. So I'm here looking to put that lead tape as close to the bottom of my paddle as I can. And I'm actually gonna kind of roll it upwards. Reason I do that, it's gonna help me balance that paddle more consistently. If I just put that lead weight wherever on the grip, it's not gonna be a consistent feeling. So as just a rule of thumb, I always do close to the butt cap as I can. Put the first 2 strips pretty easily. Sometimes this lead weight is a little difficult to peel, but once you get going, it's not that hard. And once you get used to it, it'll feel like it's nothing at all. But here I have a little bit of trouble, but start playing around with it, and boom, I got it. Put that 3rd strip on, again, close to that butt cap as I can. I'm going to use my thumb to help make it smooth on that paddle. And we're going to put a different overgrip on it after. As you can see, I had to redo that one. Wasn't good enough for me. For me, I think you can see these little white parts from the original grip that was on. It's entirely up to you whether you decide to peel it all off or not. For me, since I'm putting another grip over it, it doesn't affect me that much. But if you're the type of player where you really like a clean, smooth paddle, that's something you can take care of pretty simply. So here I'm putting my last strip on, and boom. That is how my paddle looks without an overgrip. So here I'm actually gonna weigh it again, and it's right about, just you'll be able to see, 8.28. Most of the time I typically actually weigh it even more than that. But just for the purposes of this demonstration, that's where I have it. So here I will be using Yonex Super Grip overgrips. It's my favorite grip I've used from my tennis days. I actually prefer the white overgrips, but I actually ran out of those for right now. People say they play pretty similar. I feel like the white overgrip is slightly more sticky on my hand, so it allows me to grip the paddle a little easier. It plays pretty, in my opinion, kind of similar to some Wilson overgrips. But if I've been a diehard Yonex guy from my tennis days, so just sticking loyal to them. I buy this 30 pack because I use a lot of overgrips. Entirely up to you. I think they sell them in packs of 3 and 15. And this one, again, is a 30 pack. It's about $45, but it's a really good investment into your pickleball game. Here I'm going to open up the grip, peel the white plastic off. Now the grip is ready. There's this little sticky tab here. I'm gonna peel that. That's what's gonna actually stick to your paddle. For me, when I put over grips on, I always try to look for that bottom left corner to start. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just something for me I've done for years, and I'm a creature of habit, so I just keep it consistent. So if you've never put an over grip on before, big important tip is not to rush it. Take your time. You want to make sure the grip is tight, but you don't want to feel like you're pulling that grip to where it's gonna tear. So here again, taking my time. You notice I'm not using my right hand to grip. I'm just turning that paddle in circles, right? That's what you want to look for whenever you're putting a grip on. And right here, this is the end of the paddle. What I'm looking for is that edge corner. You can just tear it, but for me, I actually like to cut it. I'm gonna unroll my paddle a little bit. I'm actually gonna start and just cut it at an angle. What you're looking for is to just cut and make sure you finish to that same tab that I have my hand on there. That's where I'm gonna make sure I don't have a lot of excess over grip. I think that's where a lot of players get really annoyed when they're getting new grips. Is, man, I have so much extra over grip. I don't wanna tear it. So that's one way you can do to cut it. And just wrapping it at an angle here and right around right there, right? It's perfect where I want it. I'm gonna grab my sticker here. And again, with these Yonex grips, it's really nice because they have a little tab that helps you get started. And it's just much easier to tape on than from other grips I've seen. Unroll that, unpeel, and just turn that paddle around, and boom, there's my gripped paddle. Again, if you're scared of using lead, you know, after you have all these after you have all this on, you can definitely just put electrical tape over it, or you can get it wrapped with vinyl. There's a lot of people that do that. I'm personally a fan of that. I can definitely link in the description below a couple of my buddies that help vinyl wrap my paddles. But here I'm gonna put that rubber back on right there. I think it really helps make the paddle all look put together. I actually dropped my camera right there, but luckily my body was there to catch it. Keep putting this cover back on, protects the sticker from my over grip, and there we go. I'm gonna do a final measurement with the weight, and as you can see, it's about 8.4. This is about close to where I've been playing at lately. Actually, I typically probably use a whole nother pack on my paddle, but just an idea of the areas where I like to put my paddle. And at the end, I always like to make sure I wipe it down with a Clorox wipe. Again, lead is a poisonous metal, so I don't want to keep a lot of residue. Wipe down all the equipment I use. That way it's clean for the next time. Perfect. And thanks for watching, guys.